Welcome back, y'all. Today, I will be covering youth coaches. People want to know my opinion on youth coaches. I do try to do my due diligence and go to some youth practices and talk to youth coaches, get their mindset on things, kind of share my mindset on things because I know that that will be able to advance the game. And ultimately, that's one of my goals and dreams. I want to spearhead movement, training systems, and philosophies that will be able to, spearhead the way that linemen are developed and how they're executing when they get to the NFL. So how I feel about youth coaches are, I think their expectations are high and their communication is low and their patience is low. I definitely think that they should have very low expectations. Every time a youth kid comes to my session, I think I am going to assume that they can't do anything that I'm about to show them. So that is the way that I talk to them. That's the way I speak to them. And now I can only be impressed by anything that they're able to do, and then I can adjust my session and move them, forward after I've been able to see them move. But I'm always going to expect the worst. They're little kids. It's hard, it can be a hard concept for kids to be able to understand. And this position is a very artistic, intricate position that involves a lot of technique, especially the offensive line side. So why would I expect a young kid to just know how to get this done? There's college guys and NFL guys that still have things to work on. So that's how I think about it. I definitely think coaches should slow it down and be able to allow players to walk and talk through their movements, drills, and things like that, because that is when you can go and find out where a player is deficient or where he's not understanding something. Sometimes when you're going too fast, he doesn't know what's going wrong, and then you can't even catch what's wrong with the naked eye until you maybe get on film. Sometimes I'm having my guys walk through and talk me through those steps as if they were the coach, so then I can kind of understand what's confusing, what have they forgotten. I can ask them questions, and now we can both be on the same page. Sometimes it's good when the kid discovers, oh, on my third step or my fourth step, this is where it was confusing. So now they're not just listening to me. They saw where they were wrong. They saw where they had forgot the steps, and now they can even have an oh moment, and now they're starting to learning. Now they're starting to learn, and now our communication and trust is starting to grow, which is ultimately needed to really go and develop a kid. He's got to trust you. You got to trust him, and you guys have to kind of understand each other and kind of get on the same page, and that can take some time. And I feel like as a coach, if you can't physically show the kid what you're talking about, you got to be able to find some videos that can give those kids some old moments or some wild moments, because this is a picture that they've never seen. All they know is, maybe video games or watching a little TV on football. It's hard to be able to understand one text, three text, five text, when it's flowing here, you go here. Like, that takes time and effort for a kid to be able to know that. So, you got to be able to groom these kids to be able to understand like that. And they're visual learners. Like, you got to have videos or some pictures, something. And then we got to slow down on the cussing and yelling. I cuss, I yell. Yes, I do. I'm not saying it's bad, but you can't cuss at everything. And every kid doesn't respond to cussing and yelling. Like, also as a coach, I feel like it's your due diligence to be able to go, and fill these kids out. Some kids, you may yell and cuss out more. And some kids, you might have to, talk softly to them and ask them more questions. Other kids, you can tell them questions and cuss them out. And some kids, you got to be able to, you got to know how to deal with these guys. Everybody has different backgrounds. And the deeper that you get into understanding the player and where they're coming from, or even feeling where they're playing and where they're coming from, then I think that you can be able to go and start to teach him at a little bit faster rate, because you'll know what are his ticks or what are his negatives. And you got to start trying to explain. Sometimes these kids have legitimate questions, or you can be able to let them know how that question, it didn't make any sense, and is this what they mean? So now they do know how to communicate themselves. Sometimes at the end of the day, they don't always know how to communicate what they're feeling or what they need help with. And as a coach, you have to go and be able to teach them that, especially at a young age, because then that will last with them forever and be some of the reasons why they, make it to high success in their sport or just in their life. So try talking to some of the kids, talking through some of these, stressful moments. Sometimes say a water break, and sometimes I'll do cuss, and sometimes I'll start to breathe on my water break, and I go in there and ask like, hey man, what are we struggling with? Why is this hard to understand? Can I be a little bit more concise? Like, what's confusing? And then I try to get on their level, not to say that I'm above or anything, but I just try to get in the mix with them, and I kind of become their friend right there, and I become their peer, and I ask them advice how maybe I can be better, or what are they struggling with, or is it long days? And then sometimes through that, like, we're able to have breakthroughs, and sometimes with me asking that, at that moment they do have answers for me, and they're finally able to communicate more. So just go ahead and try that sometimes, slowing things down for sure, showing guys exactly what you mean, and if not, having videos and some photos for it, and then try something other than cussing when things are not going wrong, and you'll be surprised at your result. Man, if y'all listen to this far, appreciate y'all time. Let me know y'all opinions on this comment. And then under the comments, leave me a comment or a question if there's something you want me to answer for next week. If y'all got any big fellas, y'all know where to send them. Can't wait to see y'all at a training session or a camp. See y'all next week.